All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
Let's check the feed real quick. Bear with me. All right, we live. All right, hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
GMS Charlotte, back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakah Kodash. And before we get started, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who taught us his truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, this is another news and prophecy. The earth mourns and fades away, and the people do languish. All right, and we want to get into the fact that as we're going to play these videos, you're going to see the state of the people, man. All right, as they complain, as they cry out due to the oppression, all right, from the global banking elite, the Edomites, man, real quick. And you're going to see why exactly this. You're going to see exactly why we need Yahweh Shah, man. We need deliverance. We need salvation. All right, real quick. This is Ezekiel 22 and 29. It says, "The people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully." So, applying this to the Edomites, the global banking elite, okay, they have used oppression and exercised robbery against the people in the land. And this is why people are at the point of wanting to kill themselves, unalive themselves, suicide rates. You know, people are giving up hope. Okay, people are pretty much ready to end it all. All right, and I just wanted to make a few examples of that as we go through some of these clips, you know. But if you want to add anything, you feel free. So, you know.
I got a quick precept.
You got it.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 5, and I'm gonna let me see, verse Ecclesiastes 5 and verse 9. It says, "Moreover, the profit of the earth is for all. The king himself is served by the field." And pretty much the point that I wanted to get was, you know, ultimately everybody is supposed to benefit off of the land, you know, whereas, you know, in this rulership, you know, Esau Edom, you know, he pretty much monopolizes land. You know, he puts it to where, you know, if he can't benefit from the land, you know, then he don't want nobody else, you know, benefiting from the land, you know, and that's pretty much oppression. That serves as an example of oppression.
Yeah, this man is a true devil, a true demon, man. All right, so let's get into it. And like I said, we just wanted to show you examples of how the scriptures are faithful and true, man. This is why we need to be delivered. We need to be saved from Babylon, man. We need to be delivered from this prison house, you know. But anyway, let's get into it. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying, right?
Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge that we are slaves. American people hate that. They hate when you say that because they have been told their whole lives that we are the freest country in the world. We are not the freest country in the world. We're actually the only country in the world that's asked to go to work, then pay most of our money back to the government. When you add it all up, some of you might be saying, "Oh, well, I only pay 30%. No, you don't. Add up all the other tax you pay. What's that add up to? That's the actual percentage you're taxed. For almost all of us, that's over 50% if you pay tax. We have to acknowledge that if we live to work to provide most of our money back to the government, we have to acknowledge that we are legitimately slaves to the government. We exist to fund the government. Okay, that is not free.
And again, that was a short clip, but these are constant talking points amongst these different, you know, podcasts and videos. People are waking up to the oppression. The scripture said that oppression maketh a wise man mad. You know, let's get this too. All right. So I had this pulled up in the chat GPT as well, but I want to read it first in Isaiah 24. Matter of fact, can you read for me, brother?
Starting at verse 1.
Yep.
This is Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 1. And it says, "Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, and as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him."
Yeah, so everybody that's on that side of judgment is going to face that judgment, you know. Go ahead.
Verse 3, it says, "The land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, The Lord hath spoken this word.
Mm-hmm.
The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish.
Yep, yeah, and that's the state of the earth right now. Okay, it says the earth mourneth and fadeth away. The earth is literally mourning. The Lord's creation is mourning. All right, the people are mourning. All right, everything is in a state of death and sickness. Okay, that's the product of the wicked ruling. As we're going to go on. Go ahead.
It says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
Yeah, so the earth is being ruled in wickedness, man. And this is why the earth, as it tells you in was it Genesis, the 4th chapter, all right, under Cain and his descendants, the earth wouldn't yield its true strength. You know, the earth wouldn't yield its true productivity, all right, because the earth is being ran in complete wickedness, you know. Now I want to pull this up in the chat GPT and add some videos to it. All right, so this is from the chat GPT, and I have put in the verses that we just read, Isaiah 24, verses 4 and 5, and I said, how does this apply today? All right, so it says Isaiah 24, verses 4 and 5 applies directly today because it describes what happens whenever a society breaks God's moral and covenant order. The effects show up in real life, not just theology. Let's break it down plainly and connect to what we see now. Number one, the earth mourneth, the world languish. This is a system-wide collapsed language. All right. It says, point one here, it says the social order, the economic system, the productive life of a society. Today's parallel: constant financial stress, burnout culture, unstable job markets, supply chain problems, widespread anxiety and depression. Life feels harder than it should, even when the technology is advanced. This is exactly what, quote, languishing means, right? So let's add on to that, okay?
I know I'm not the only adult that sits in their car wondering how they're making the most money they've ever made in their entire life, and it still doesn't seem to be enough. My rent is $2,000 a month, and I live in a townhouse. My car note is $535 a month, and that's on the low end compared to what I see a lot of people pay. My car insurance is $370 between two vehicles. And every time I fucking turn around, that shit's going up, and they can't even tell you why, other than that the rates have increased. Fucking why? And then you got some fucking orange man in office trying to convince you that your grocery bill has decreased, but I just went and spent $100 on fucking chips, bread, bananas, apples, some fucking muffins, and hamburger meat. Oh, don't forget the $10 eggs. My HOA just decided to charge me $100 because I left my garbage can sitting out in front of my house for a couple of days because I needed to let it dry after dumping it with bleach because there were maggots in there. You rent from these companies and they penny pinch you on every fucking thing that they can. We are being bullied into poverty by these corporations and billionaires. And we have somebody in office gaslighting us in our face, telling us, oh, no, you're not. I don't understand how the families that are living off $15 an hour, like, how are you doing it? How do you pay your rent? What do you do when your car breaks down? I don't know, dude. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I'm blessed compared to a lot of people, and it's still fucking hard.
Look, you got people that look normal, just like you and me, you know, who do not want to be on this planet anymore, do not want to live this life anymore. You got so many people who say to themselves, and I see it in my comments, and I've even had those thoughts that, man, if I go to sleep and don't wake up, I'm good. Like,
you see what I'm saying? Yo, it's heavy, right? Real quick, Proverbs 29:2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. All right. So this is just adding into what we read in Isaiah 24 about how the earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, and the hardy people of the earth do languish. All right. This is a direct result of the wicked being in power, man. As we read in the Ezekiel, was it 22? Can I go back to that real fast as well? Ezekiel 22 and 29, the people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery, man. People are being robbed, man. This is a product of the system. It was designed for you to fail, man. It was designed to make you into a complete debt slave, man. Okay, and this is what this is what people are feeling, man. Okay, the people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery and have vexed the poor and needy, right? And the poor and needy will represent you Israelites, man. Okay, it was never designed for you to succeed, right? Yea, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. So this is the point here, man. Okay, people are burnt out, tired. All right, they're ready to off themselves. You know, depression rates have skyrocketed, suicide rates have skyrocketed. You know, it's this generation, what's it called? Generation Z. You know, they're already hip. They see that everything about this system is pointless, man. What's the point of working, man? They can barely make it out alive, man. You can barely sustain yourself, you know. So it's like, again, these talking points are very, you know, prevalent throughout the internet, man. You know, you got anything you want to add out?
It's Proverbs Mashayah chapter 22 and verse 7. It says, the rich ruleth over the poor, which the rich will represent, you know, the banking elites. It says, the rich ruleth over the poor, which predominantly is Jake. It says, and the borrower is servant to the lender. You know, so pretty much the society that Esau Edom has pretty much came up with, you know, he's put it to where, you know, people are pretty much debt slaves, to reiterate, and to where it's making it to where, you know, they're stressed out, depressed, you know, they want to off themselves.
Yep. Get that one in Baruch you had.
God. It's Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. It says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. And pretty much, you know, ultimately, you know, again, you know, predominantly it's Jake that, you know, it represents the poor. And ultimately we're in this predicament, you know, because we sinned against the Lord, you know. But contrary to, you know, those in the world, you know, ultimately we understand that, you know, being subject to payments, that shows that, you know, we're pretty much, you know, property of Esau, slaves on this side, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been free, you know, by this this truth.
Shit.
A lot of people, and it's still fucking hard.
Look, you got people that look normal, just like you and me, you know, who do not want to be on this planet anymore, do not want to live this life anymore. You got so many people who say to themselves, and I see it in my comments, and I've even had those thoughts that, man, if I go to sleep and don't wake up, I'm good. Like if I go to sleep, I'm, you know, and it's not people that's suicidal. It's not people who need to be in mental hospital. It's people who just see this life for what it is. This is like, it's almost like Earth is a prison. It's a dual reality. It's the craziest, most horrific dual reality, because on one end of the spectrum, you'll see people living in peace. But if you look in places like Gaza and other places around the world, like Africa, where women are having their breasts cut off and their clitoris is cut off, this is a very crazy world that we live in. And there are many people, man, that say, if I had to re-up and re-sign up for this world, I would never come back to this world. Like, this is not a world that you can even bring up your kids up in. If you don't have any kids right now, let me give you some advice. Do not have any kids in this world. One girl told me yesterday, she said in my comments, she said, most of us have kids for us, but we don't think about the kids. And that hit me hard, because when you're thinking about having kids in this day and age, and you want to bring them up in this crazy world, in this horrific world, where people are barely surviving and being murdered and killed all day. No, I don't want to bring another kid up in this world. I don't want anybody to have to suffer the stuff that I had to go through in this world. And I'm sure you don't either. Again, you got people all over the planet, man, who like cannot wait for their time to come. They're not, look, they go to work every day, take care of their families, but they say to themselves, if I go to sleep tonight and don't wake up, I am good. And you got a lot of folks, man, who say to themselves, the only reason I'm still here is because of my kids or my grandkids, or even people have said my dog, but I don't want to be here anymore. This is a very difficult world to be in, and this is a conversation that people don't like to have because I'm a person that's going to talk real talk. I'm never going to I'm never going to unalive myself. But at times I wish that, hey, if there was an exit plan for this planet, I'd be in it. If they ever said that if I ever left here and they gave me the opportunity to come back, hell to the no. I'm not coming back here because this place is sure hell. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, everybody seems to be suffering and going through with no relief in sight. You tell me who the hell want to come back and live here.
There you go. Hey, hell on earth. Babylon the Great, America, this place is hell, man. And this is how people feel, man. That's why when I saw these videos, I'm like, man, this is a spirit. This is Isaiah 24 all day. Okay? People are ready to crash the fuck out. They're ready to clock out on life because of the living conditions on this planet, man. This is why we need the Lord. Right? You got niggas that try to act like they just cool with these living conditions here, man. Oh, I ain't got no complaints. You know, just cool living in America, man. You know, this shit is a wrap, man. Okay, we're coming into the time where society is going to break down, man. People are going to stand up against the powers that be, man. It's going to be sedition, okay? Which they're already provoking that to bring forth martial law in this police state that we're in the midst of right now, okay? But at the end of the day, this all surrounds prophecy, man, okay? You had anything you want to add up before I go back? Go ahead.
This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 7, and it says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. It says, yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no feller has come up against us. And ultimately, under the rulership of Esau Edom, you know, he's put it to where the earth is in a constant state of chaos, you know, and distress, you know. Pretty much, you know, when he's put down, you know, in the kingdom, ultimately, you know, the earth is going to be at true peace and true rest.
That's it, man. So when you hear us talk about the earth needs new management, this is what the fuck we talking about, man. Who wants to continue to live like this, man? And if you're not sighing and crying, about these things, you ain't right, man. Okay, the saints would be crying out. I was looking up that word oppression real quick. All right. You know, it pops up 24 times here. You know, but it says Exodus 3:9, it says, now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come up to me. It's come unto me. And I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them, man. And who's the Egyptians now? The Edomites, the modern day Egyptians, man. And those cries, matter of fact, let me get that too in James, right? Not to be all over the place, but those cries are being heard right now. This is why the earth, I would say the earth, but I'm saying this world, this age that we live in is coming to an end. Okay, because the cries of the saints are being heard, right? James 5:4.
I read it.
You got it, bro.
God. So James 5 and verse 4, and it says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth.
See, the laborers are crying. Who are the laborers? The slaves, man. Okay, that represents us, the Israelites. Okay, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. All right, Israel is responsible for building this society, man, through slavery, captivity, man. Okay, everything that so-called made this kingdom great is because of the Israelites, man. All right, so it says the laborers who have reaped down your field, which is of you, kept back by fraud, cry. What's the fraud? Taxes. All right, redlining, disenfranchised, poverty, oppression, the hood, the slums, the ghettos. Okay, poor schooling systems. Okay, what else? Everything else in between, right? That's the fraud. And it says, cry, and the cries of them which are reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, right? So the cries have gone up. Okay, the Lord is hearing the complaints, the supplications of the saints, man. This is why these things are happening in the earth, man. The doorstep of nuclear war. Okay, the total breakdown of the society. Okay, uproars of the people, sedition of men, great confusion. All right, all those things, man, because we're in a time where the Lord is getting ready to bring judgment. Okay, so again, those cries are being heard by Yahweh Shem Shai. They're not going unnoticed, right? You have anything, Ak, you want to add in?
Blah.
All right, let me go back. All right, we're just talking about the oppression, all right, from these elites, these Edomites. You know, Job 36:15, he delivered the poor in his affliction and opened their ears in oppression. See? And many other ones, right? You know, and we're going to get into this too. Psalm 73:8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. I'm going to get into that in a minute. You know, so on and so forth. Ecclesiastes 7:7, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart, man. So again, people are aware that they're being oppressed. Okay, and this is why they're crying out. So anyway, let's go back. I'm going to go back to the chat. There's a little bit more in there. Okay, just dealing with the parallels of what's going on now. All right. So this is back in ChatGPT. So I'll reread it down. Number one, the earth mourneth, the world languish. This is a system-wide collapse language. It says the social order, the economic system, the productive life of a society. Today's parallel, constant financial stress, which we heard in the video. Burnout culture, unstable job markets, supply chain problems, widespread anxiety and depression. All right, as you heard from the Jake. All right, people are ready to just take their lives, to remove themselves from the earth. This is how people feel, man. Life feels harder than it should, even when technology is advanced. This is exactly what quote languishing means. Number two, the haughty people do languish. Haughty refers to those who rule with pride, leaders, elites, institutions that think they are untouchable. Today, arrogant governments, corporate greed. All right, because where are we at now? They're getting rid of they're destroying the job market. All right, nobody's not going to have a job. AI is going to replace everybody. Okay, they're telling you they no longer need humans. Right, this is where we at. You know, they're getting rid of real food. You know, in the name of corporate greed, man. Technocrats claiming to quote fix humanity. It says at least disconnected from everyday suffering because they don't give a damn, right? This is what they want. Isaiah says they also weaken even when they look powerful. Their systems are fragile. Trust is collapsing. Legitimacy is eroding, and fear is increasing at the top. See that? This is where we at, man. I want to add this in Sirach, unless you had anything real quick, God, you know. All right, read this for me, Sirach 10:1.
Okay. Sirach 10 and verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered.
Mm-hmm.
As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein.
Yeah, so the people reflect the manner of leadership, man. And since the leadership is wicked, therefore the people are wicked, man. This is why the society is in a state of decadence, man. Okay, this is why the societal order is eroding, man. It's decomposing. As we just read in the chat, you know, the it's fear at the top. You know, people can no longer trust government order. You see what I'm saying? It's just the society is just full of chaos and confusion. Go ahead.
All right, I got a quick precept if I can.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
It's Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 14. And it says, judgment is turned away backward, and justice standeth afar off, for truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. And that's ultimately, you know, how we see the rulers of America, Babylon the Great, and then also, you know, around the world. That's ultimately how, you know, they rule. You know, when you go into like all of the different sectors of the government, you know, a lot of that is ruled off of you know, how they feel, you know, and ultimately they don't have their minds rooted, you know, in wisdom, you see. So how they feel, it goes back to, you know, something that's wicked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Back in Sirach or Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 2, as the judge of the people is himself. Was you reading out, Salakia?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You want me to verse 2 or you want me to go to verse 3?
Read verse 2 back on down.
Sirach 10 and 2, it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of ruler the city is, such are all they that dwell therein.
Right.
An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited.
Yeah, so an unwise king destroys his people, man. And those that are ruling would be those unwise kings. All right, those unwise kings. All right, and they're destroying their people through what? GMOs, chemtrails. Okay, the oppression that we're talking about here. You see, it's all tied into that. Okay, this is why we need righteous authority. This is why the earth is in desperate need of new management. Okay, the earth is being ran in wickedness, man. Keep going.
Verse 4 says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable.
Exactly. In due time, right? In due time, he will set one over it that is profitable, man. Starting with Yahushua and the elect. This is what the Lord's creation is waiting for. This is what the world is waiting for, man. That new righteous leadership be established, because again, let me make that point, as it tells us in Matthew 24. Okay, Matthew 24 and verse 22, right? I'll read 21. Matthew 24 and 21. For then should be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no ever shall be. Verse 22, it says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days should be shortened. Right. So again, if Esau had it his way, right, no flesh would be saved. Nobody would survive. This is why the Lord is amping up these prophecies for the elect's sake, man, so that we have a chance of survival, of making it, man. You know, things are moving how the Lord has them moving, man, because Esau's on the verge of trying to kill everybody, man.
Right.
All right. This is why we need Yahushua to come and save us, man. In due time, he's going to set up one that is profitable for the earth, you know. Let's go back.
I got scriptures, Aquan.
You got it.
God, this is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 9. And it says, with my soul have I desired thee in the night, yet with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. Now I want to get this word for righteousness. And it says tazadak, and it says justice, rightness, righteousness. What is right or just, normal, rightness, justness of weights and measures. You know, so ultimately, you know, going into all of that, you know, because ultimately what's going on is how Esau even runs everything is, you know, he takes things out of balance, you know, putting the woman over the man, you know, when it comes to, you know, different animals and stuff like that. It take animals out of their proper order in the ecosystem, and that throws the earth out of whack, you know.
Yep.
So when the Lord's judgments are essentially in the earth, everything is going to go back to, you know, what's normal, what's just, what's righteous, and a true balance.
Exactly. And that's how the earth is going to grow and prosper. That's how the earth is going to yield its true strength when the righteous are in authority, as we read in Proverbs 29 and 2. All right. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. The people are going to rejoice, and so is the earth. Right. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And this is where we're at now. Okay. So let's read some more before we move on. Right. Because hey, that video was those clips was pretty heavy, man. Okay, people are now acknowledging that. Look, we are literally slaves, man. Slaves to the system and the banking elite, the Edomites, man. All right, back in the chat. So we went through number 2. Let's go to 3. It says the earth is defiled under the inhabitants. Defilement in the Bible includes injustice, right? Exploitation, all right? And who's majorly exploited here? The tribes, the so-called Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, Hispanics, right? Violence, sexual perversion, all right, which is pushed heavily through Babylon, man. Okay? Hypersexuality, homosexuality, transformism. Okay? People are just this society pushes sexual deviance, man. You know, perversions, right? PDF files, right? All types of shit goes on here, man. Okay, animals, people dealing with animals, right? Pollution of land, food and water, as we talked about, the GMO foods, the chemtrails. We're hearing about how these AI data centers are poisoning the air and the water. You know, it says modern parallels, chemical laden food and water, right? Spirit, environmental damage driven by profit. Yep. Human life treated as disposable. Chronic illness becoming normal. The land reacts because moral corruption eventually produces physical consequences, right? So this is why the earth is in a state of languishing, as we were reading. All right. Verse 4, or number 4, they have transgressed the laws. This is not only religious law, it includes basic moral truth, honesty, justice, responsibility, care for the poor, respect for life. Esau has none of that. Right? Today, lies rewarded, truth punished, debt slavery normalized, justice manipulated. When law is twisted, society destabilizes. Matter of fact, I get that in Malachi. Malachi 1, let me get it. That's on point. Malachi, was it 1 and 4?
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull it up here. No, not Malachi 1 and 4. Malachi, how's it go? How truth is not it's not exercised in the land. Roughly paraphrases. It's in Malachi. I can't think of it right now. You know what I'm talking about?
No, top.
Let me see if I can find it. If a brother got it, throw it on the comment board. Damn, what is it? I'm gonna find it real quick.
Okay.
Trying to figure out how it goes. In fact, let me go on my sword real quick. It slipped my mind. Bear with me 1 second. We'll pull it up. If anything, I'll grab a scripture if you got something, and I'll find it. Yep. Bear with me. Was it Malachi? It's in Malachi. I know it's in Malachi. Let me see. Bear with us. Bear with us. I don't know why I couldn't think of that scripture. Malachi 1 and 4. No, it's not 1 and 4. You got something up?
Hey, I got a quick one.
Go ahead, bring it up.
So Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 1,
Mm-hmm.
it says, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee." All right, ultimately, you know, going into this truth, how it's being seen on the elect. It says, verse 2, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee." And I ultimately want to get this scripture because it says gross darkness to people. That the darkness, ultimately, when you go into the Hebrew word, is chashak, and it goes into obscurity, ignorance, and misery. You know, and being that, you know, Esau Edom ultimately runs the world, and all these things listed right here. It says truth is punished, debt slavery normalized. It says lies rewarded. It says care, you don't have any care for the poor or respect for life. You know, and that's a scripture. I can't remember how it's worded, but pretty much it goes along the lines of, you know, pretty much a judge is going, you know, pretty much he's going to have subjects, and what Esau Edom has done is pretty much he's destroying his subjects. You know? Right.
Yeah, he's an unfit king. He's an unwise king, as we just read, man.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the earth, this world is in the state of chaos because of these people that are in power. Is the point. This is why we're in a time where the Lord is coming back to take these devils down. All right. I couldn't find it, man. I don't know what, I couldn't even think of how it goes, but I know it's in Malachi. Right. on how uprightness is not pushed in the land. I'm beating the scripture up, you know, roughly paraphrasing. But if the spirit have it, it'll come out. All right. But anyway, couple precepts from the oh, there we go. The water, my brother. There he is. That's I said Malachi. This is Habakkuk. Here we go. The water, Shalom. This is Habakkuk 1:4. It says, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth. Right? Righteous judgment is not exercised in the society at all. Right? And judgment doeth never go forth, for the wicked doeth compass about the righteous. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. And this is why everything is upside down. All right, as we're reading Isaiah 24. This is why the earth is languishing. This is why people are dying. The world is in a state of death. All right, this is why things are not prospering. This is why society is decaying. This is why things are breaking down. All right, because there's no righteousness being exercised in the midst of the land. Okay, we have the understanding. We have the understanding on these things, on why things are the way they are. All right, because it's all biblical. All right, and this is from the beloved Saquan Yashawamba Shalom Yabashino Shabakata. Right, he threw a couple precepts in there too before we go on. All right, this is Psalms 55:11. Wickedness is in the midst thereof. Deceit and guile depart not from her streets. Right, because this is a wicked land. This is a wicked place. Okay, everything that you know, involves in the society is all generated around wickedness, sin. Okay, so how can a society that's established off of sin and wickedness thrive? You know, Isaiah 59:15, and it reads, it says, yea, truth faileth, and he that departed from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord saw it, and it says, in the Lord, Yahweh Shemel saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. So again, just adding on to the point that we're speaking on here, man. Okay, there's no type of righteousness whatsoever that's being exercised in this society, man. So are you shocked to see people talking about, you know, unaliving themselves, ready to give up on life, and you know what I'm saying, and have this type of mindset? No, because we understand why this is the way it is, right? Isaiah 59:14 NLT, it says, our courts oppose the righteous, and justice is nowhere to be found. Man, injustice is nowhere to be found. Truth stumbles in the streets, and honesty has been outlawed. That's beautiful, man. That's what we just read in the chat GPT here, man. Okay, so again, how is a society supposed to strive lawfully when it's being exercised through pure wickedness, man? You see that? Last one here, Proverbs 14:28 NLT. It says, a growing population is a king's glory. A prince without subjects has nothing, man. And here it is, the damn king is killing off his subjects, man. You know, so again, how is a society supposed to thrive in a way like this, man? Make it make sense, right? Let's go back. You had anything you want to add up?
Lie.
All right, let's go at and see what else we have in here before we move on. Heavy precepts by the elder. Where are we at? All right, so back in the chat. So again, we'll read that again. Today, lies rewarded, truth punished, debt slavery normalized, justice manipulated. When law is twisted, society destabilizes, right? Number 5, it says change the ordinance. Ordinance means fixed boundaries, how life is designed to function. Today, this looks like redefining family, gender, and morality. And these are all the things that these devils are doing, man. They've completely destroyed the nuclear family. Okay, all the when it comes to the man, woman, and child, all the roles are out of order. Okay, the man is out of his mind and out of order. The woman is out of her mind and out of order, and so is the children. All right, and that's all through the philosophies and the mindset that's pushed here, man. Okay, a woman and a man can change their gender. Children can take on puberty blockers and become, you know, whatever the fuck they want to become, and just all the madness that's pushed here. The sexual immorality. the disregard of life, right? All the ideologies of the serpent. It says calling evil good and good evil. Get that in Isaiah. Isaiah 5, you know what that said?
Verse 20.
Yeah, get that real quick. I'll read on, and you can break it down.
Okay. This is Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 20. And it says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So ultimately, you know, under this current rulership, you know, ultimately Esau, Edom, he puts things that are supposed to be frowned upon. That's what's on top. You know, scripture say that, you know, his tongue walks through the earth in Psalm the 73rd chapter, you know. So scripture also say that, you know, his ways is adverse to the Lord, you know. So ultimately what's going on is that people are subscribing to the lifestyles and ways of Esau, Edom. They're calling those things good when really scripturally, you know, that they will be, it will be against the scriptures, you know.
Yeah.
And pretty much destruction to those that are in that type of spirit.
Mm-hmm. Because all his ways are ways of death. All right. What he promotes is anti-life, you know. Reading on. Redefining family, gender, and morality, calling evil good and good evil, rewriting truth for convenience and power. What is he doing? Trying to take away the truth behind slavery, what happened to the tribes. You know, they want to control the narrative, you know, the four of those lies, right? This is all happening now. It's just replacing wisdom with ideology, right? What's the main ideology that's being pushed? This transhumanism. All right, merging man with machine, no more worshiping the true power, getting rid of so-called religion or whatnot. Okay, this idea of a pseudo kingdom being ruled through technology and AI. Okay, and not the wisdom of the Most High. We're here now. It says when boundaries are removed, confusion, anxiety, and social breakdown follow. Beautiful, man. And this is what we're actually witnessing with our own eyes right now. The video clips that we played, the things that we see going on around us. All right. America, Babylon is the Great, really the world in general, is in a state of complete confusion. Okay. The anxiety, the fear. Matter of fact, go to 2nd Ezra 16 and get that about the sorrows on every side. That's my favorite scripture because we're actually living in the midst of that, man. You know?
Which verse?
2nd Ezra 16. Go to let me go there. It's like in the latter half of it. Started 37. Read down to 39.
Okay. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 37, and it says, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment."
Yeah, and the child is getting ready to come forth. The child is getting ready to be born. All right, which represents Yahweh Shah coming back in the destruction of this current world. All right, we're in the midst of what they call what's it called when the woman gives birth? The
contractions.
The contractions, the Braxton, they call it Braxton Hicks, something like that, where those birth pains start contracting even harder because the child is about to, come forth. All right. So this is where we are in prophecy in the spirit. Go ahead.
Verse 39. It says, "So even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side."
There you go. So it says the plagues, all right, going back to pretty much the judgments. It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So again, adding it back to what we're going through in Isaiah 24. This is why the earth is mourning. All right. Sorrows are beginning to come upon this place on every side. Not just America, all over the earth. All right. The world and its citizens are in the state of mourning. All right. Most of these governments on this earth are corrupt. They've been compromised. Right. They're all under the agenda of the elites. This is why you have these uproars going off in these different countries, because now the people of these countries are now aware that their governments are sold out too. You see what I'm saying? So all hell is going to break loose across the planet soon to come, and it's beginning to happen now, right? Let's go back and finish it off. You know, when boundaries are removed, confusion, anxiety, and social breakdown follow. Number 6, broken the everlasting covenant. This refers to humanity rejecting accountability to the Most High, and part of that, Esau, he's conditioned the masses to think like him. You know, we talk about it all the time at camp. A lot of, especially when it comes to our people, they think and act like Edomites, man. You know, and he's conditioned the world to have a mindset like this. You know, it says accountability to the Most High, moral responsibility, natural order. Even non-religious societies live under creation laws. When those are ignored, consequences come regardless of belief. Ooh, man. Romans 8:22, when the whole creation groans. And I actually had that pulled up. We'll get that in a second. Okay. Matter of fact, we'll get it now. Let's get it now. All right.
Okay. I got it right here.
Okay. You got it, bro. I got it on the screen too.
Okay. It's Romans 8 and verse 22. It says,
start up at 18.
Romans 8 and 18, it says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us.
Mm-hmm.
For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High.
Yeah, so it says the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God, man. So think about that, man. Right? The earth is literally waiting for new management to take the leadership role, to take the seat of authority. All right, the sons of God going back to the elect. So the creation is waiting for the elect to be reestablished, man. The sons of God. Go ahead.
Says, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who had subjected the same in hope.
Keep going.
Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption and to the glorious liberty of the children of the Most High.
Yeah, so we're waiting to be delivered from this sinful flesh and put on incorruption, man. Okay, ruling. Hey, imagine this: ruling the earth in perfection with perfect bodies and a perfect mind. You know, that's the glory that's coming. Go ahead.
It says, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now.
Until now, even this day, man, all of the Lord's creation is groaning and pain together until now, man. Okay, again, the earth languish, the world languish, and the people, the haughty people do of languish. Okay, so essentially, what I'm saying is that the earth needs us. You know, the earth needs a righteous rule, man. It's yearning for a righteous rulership. You know. Let's go back. All right. 7. It says, why this matters now. Isaiah 24 explains why modern life feels oppressive. You work more and gain less. Systems feel hostile. Health is declining. Joy is fading. This is not accidental. It is the result of a corrupted order. But Isaiah 24 is not the end of the story. It leads to purging, exposure, and eventual restoration. Collapse comes before renewal. And that's heavy, man. So like I said, eventual restoration is coming, man. Yahweh Shai, establishing the kingdom of heaven. All right, the government being established on the earth, the house of David, the earth going back to righteousness, as we read was Isaiah 26:9, when the righteous are in authority, where it said the world will learn righteousness, roughly paraphrasing, right? It says collapse comes before renewal, so the collapse has to happen. Okay, as it tells you in I'm roughly paraphrasing 2 Ezra 4 about how that which has to that has to be turned upside down in order for the good to be established. So that this has to happen, and we'll finish it off here. In one sentence, Isaiah 24 applies today because it describes moral, economic, and social consequences of a society that rejects God's order. And those consequences are now visible everywhere. And this is what we've been saying through all these lessons, man. If you're in the spirit, you can see it, man. Look at the state of the earth. Look at the people. Look what's going on. Look at the laws that are being established. Look how these devils are ruling. Look what they're doing to the food and to the air and the animals. You see what I'm saying? Look what they've done to the family structure. You know, the moral, fabric of society is all done for, man. Right? All those consequences are now visible everywhere. You can't deny it. All right. So that's the point there. Yeah. So that's it. So yeah. So let's move on. I thought this was pretty heavy. Right. So my next point, just to add on. Let's see where we at. Oh, let's go here. We're just talking about the again, that oppression, right?
Have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on,
which would penalize, fine people who don't have the appropriate behaviors.
And we're going to need to change behaviors.
And short-sighted behaviors that undermine collective progress.
Yeah. So these devils that you see, they're responsible for the social engineering. They're going to push this beast system that's coming to pass now. All right, we often talk about the social credit scores and how everything is being tracked and monitored from social media to your movements, everything, man. Okay, so this is all part of that digital oppression that's coming to pass. All right, let's add some more. Unless you had anything, had a scripture or anything,
Law.
All right. Let's add on to that. So this is from this looks like it's from Wired, connected to Yahoo News, but it says, has the U.S. become a surveillance state? So let's play a little bit of this, all right? Because people are becoming privy to what's going on now,
Administration. Many people have wondered.
Bear with me.
People have wondered whether the U.S. is becoming a surveillance state. But is there any truth to that? Today, we'll dig in. This is Incognito Mode.
What I think about is a state where the government's tracking or recording of people living in the state keeps them from doing things, chills their speech. To me, that's what a surveillance state is.
I think about this idea of a panopticon where perhaps the government isn't watching everything that everyone's doing, but there's always the potential that you could be watched and you feel watched all the time because you never know if they're watching. And therefore, you have no fundamental sense of privacy. To me, a surveillance state is a society where the government is fundamentally hostile to privacy.
I would agree with both of those definitions. I guess for me, it's a state that has both the capabilities to surveil everyone on a mass scale and the political will to do so. And that results in impacting people's lives in meaningful ways. According to Privacy International, a surveillance state has a number of specific characteristics. This includes mass surveillance of residents, avoidance of democratic oversight, surveillance of threats to the state and of threats to the surveillance apparatus itself, operates in secrecy, and vilifies those who protest or resist the surveillance, compels the private sector to share data on people with the government, or even sells data on people to the private sector, uses surveillance as a solution to social problems, and uses its surveillance powers beyond the original justification for them. Why would a state want to impose so much surveillance on its citizens? It seems like it's creating a lot of work and spending a lot of money to do something that might not have a lot of benefits to anyone.
I think that, a surveillance state preserves the status quo and makes the powerful more powerful. That's what dictators want. That's what the elites always want in any country, including the US, which I think is why we're asking this question today of whether the US is one of these surveillance states now too.
Perhaps the three most common examples are China, North Korea, and Russia. China has built the most technologically advanced and expansive surveillance apparatus on Earth. The country has roughly 700 million cameras. Many are equipped with facial recognition, as well as a system called CityBrain, which uses AI and data collection for so-called urban management. The system fuses information from public cameras, cell phones, financial transactions, and even health and e-commerce information to track citizens in real time.
Yeah, and it's the same shit that we have, that America has now, because that same system was adopted from China. And that's what's here now. This is part of this is the beast. Okay? Play a little bit more. It's about 16 minutes, so we're not going to play the whole thing. You can watch the rest on your own. We'll play a little bit more, though. You had a scripture out?
La.
All right, cool.
The system was developed by Alibaba Group, and that's just talking about cameras. China's government developed the internet and all types of telecommunications to be centralized in a way that it can surveil pretty much everything everyone does online or over the phone at any time.
China has been developing a digital surveillance state for decades. That's sort of been a hallmark initiative of their regime, is the Great Firewall. Their model was to build that into all their digital technology, all the infrastructure of the telecoms, everything from the ground up.
The amount of internet censorship in China is widespread and really obvious. Popular social media sites are banned in China. Instead, you have to use social media developed domestically in China, which the government has a massive amount of control over. A lot of this might sound similar to what's happening in the US or other Western countries. But the reason people call China a surveillance state is because its systems were developed with surveillance in mind from the very beginning. Just as the open internet was developing across the world, China was building an alternative version that had tight centralized control that really imposed a lot of limits on what people could say and do online.
And then there's a true totalitarian state like North Korea, which I think of as the quintessential surveillance state that actually is not digital at all for most people. Most people don't even have access to the internet. Those who do, it's completely, entirely surveilled. Those are mostly elites and government employees. But then for everyone else, there's a kind of analog surveillance state through informants, through a whisper network of neighbors snitching on each other and being incentivized to do so, so that there really is no privacy, or at least that is the intention of the regime of Kim Jong-un.
In North Korea, surveillance enforces loyalty, and dissent there can mean imprisonment. Virtually all aspects of life are under surveillance in North Korea. Classrooms, workplaces, roads, even homes are subject to surveillance.
Yeah, so this is the world to come here. All right, this is exactly what they're trying to do in the Western states, as he was talking about. So all these things that they're talking about are already in motion here, right? This is all tied into that oppression that we were just talking about, man. Right? So, yeah, you can watch the rest of that. I know it's like a good video, you know, about 16 minutes in. Right? But so that's the point, man. I want to grab a few more scriptures before we wrap it up. You know, as I was quoted earlier, Mr. Bro, Kawas Malat 8875. It says 2 Ezra 4:28. It says, but as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee, for the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. Verse 29, if therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. So as we were reading out of that chat, you know, the destruction has to come. All right. This wickedness has to be uprooted and taken out of the way in order for that which is sown with good to be established, which is the kingdom of heaven, man. So like I talked about, the collapse must happen in order for a restoration to come. And this is where we're at. You know, you got anything in it that you want to add up?
Okay. So Acts chapter 3, and I'm gonna get verse 20, and it says, and he shall send Yahawashi HaMashiach, which before was preached unto you, whom the heaven must receive until the times of restitution of all things, which the Most High hath spoken by the mouth of all his prophets. Excuse me, the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began. I want to get this word for restitution. And it says restoration. It says a true theocracy, it says, of the perfect state before the fall.
That's right.
Pretty much the point that I wanted to get was pretty much everything, you know, is ultimately going to have to be restored, you know, because what Esau Edom has done is ultimately destroyed the world.
Right. Exactly, bro. Hold on. I just put the link in the chat. So if any of you brothers want to watch the video that we just played here, going into the police state, the American, what was it called? It was this right here from the Yahoo. Has the U.S. become a surveillance state? So that link is in the chat if you want to finish that video out. All right. But yeah, that's it, man. I mean, you know, it's been made plain, you know. Is there anything else you want to add in there, Ak?
Wow.
So that's it, man. So we'll wrap this up, man. But again, this is news and prophecy. The earth mourns and fades away, and the people do languish, man. All right. And this is a direct result of wicked rulership, man. You know, this is why we need Yahweh Shai to come back and save us. Matter of fact, we'll wrap with this, my favorite scripture, Isaiah. And or matter of fact, before I go there, I do want to read this Romans. I forgot. I want to just bring this back real quick. I want to read this Romans 8 and 20 in the NLT, and then I'll make my point in Isaiah. All right. So this is Romans 8 and 18 in the NLT. It says, yet what we suffer now is nothing compared to the glory he will reveal to us later. For all creation is waiting eagerly for the future day when the Most High will reveal who his children really are. Against his will, all creation was subjected to God's curse, but with eager hope, the creation looks forward to the day when it will join God's children in glorious freedom from death and decay. Man. For we know that all creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to this present time. So, you know, I just want to read that in NLT, just showing you, man, that again, all of the Lord's creation is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God, right? Isaiah 61, and we'll wrap it up. Bear with me. Read this for me out.
Okay.
Isaiah 61 and 1.
Isaiah 61 and verse 1.
Or
says,
read the 3, and that'll be it. Yeah, read the 3.
Isaiah 61 and 1. It says, the Spirit of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound.
Yeah, so the message that's coming from the prophets is proclaiming liberty to the captives, all right? The captives are the Israelites, man. Okay? And the opening of the prison to them that are bound. So the prison is Babylon, man, America. Okay? And Jacob, the seed of Jacob is in captivity all over the earth, man. So the Lord is coming to deliver us, you know, from this prison that we're in. Keep going.
It says, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of the vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn.
See that? To comfort all that mourn. See that? This word is the comfort, man. To comfort all that mourn. All these videos that we play of people crying and complaining and ready to give up the spirit, right? This is the solution, Yahweh Shai, man. This is the comfort to know that, look, this hell is almost over, man. We're almost out this bitch, man. All right, so continue to fight and hold on. Okay, keep going out.
Verse 3, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness.
Yep.
That they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified.
Right, because the end of all of this is what? The kingdom of heaven. Okay? No more crying, no more suffering, no more death, no more wickedness, you know? This is what's to come if we just continue to hold on. All right? And continue to fight the good fight of faith, man, because it's almost done, man. All right, as we know and understand prophecy, these devils are not going to win in the end. All right? So again, these things have to happen for the sake of the story, all right? But the restoration of the Lord's people is already here. All right, starting with the raising of the prophets, man, and this truth going out, man. All right, and Jake standing back upon their feet, you know. So it's a beautiful story, man. In the end, you know, but we just got to endure the hell. So that's pretty much it, man. You know, just showing you again the state of the people, the state of the earth, and how, you know, new management is needed. Right? Anything else, Ak?
Wow.
All right. So hey, pray this live lesson was edifying. We're gonna close it out by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who taught us his truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect.
Shalom.
Shalom.